Among this year's global election outcomes, the one causing the most concern for Xi Jinping and the Chinese government is undoubtedly the election of Javier Milei, Argentina's new president, often dubbed Argentine Trump. Javier Milei, a rapidly rising figure in Argentine politics, is an extreme right-wing libertarian economist. This year, he ran for the presidency representing the Libertarian Party, Partido Libertario. On November 19th, Milei won the second round of the Argentine presidential election with 55.7% of the vote, becoming the first right-wing president in Argentina in over 2 decades, a result that defied international expectations. Before the election, Milei repeatedly emphasized his refusal to engage with the Chinese Communist Party and sharply criticized the Chinese government. He even accused China of interfering in the Argentine elections by financially supporting his competitor, Sergio Massa's, campaign advertisements. In an interview with American media, Milei stated, "In China, people are not free. They cannot do what they want to, and if they do, they will be killed." He rhetorically asked the reporter, "Would you do business with an assassin?" Milei's stance towards China is evidently unfriendly and contrasts sharply with the approach of previous left-wing Argentine presidents who considered the Chinese government a true friend. This has caused concern within the Chinese authorities, fearing that Milei's election might lead to a complete decoupling with China, potentially undermining years of strategic influence in Argentina. Less than 48 hours after Milei's official victory in the second round of voting, Chinese leader Xi Jinping immediately sent a congratulatory letter, rich in sentiment and expression. According to the content of the letter posted on Twitter, Xi Jinping expressed a hope to continue the friendly relations between China and Argentina, assist in the development and revitalization of both countries through cooperative and win-win strategies, promote stable and long-term China-Argentina relations, and better benefit the peoples of both nations. The exchange became public only after Milei revealed it on Twitter, showing that China had promptly congratulated him and sent an affectionate letter. According to Voice of America, citing Christopher Ecclestone, a strategist with a long-term focus on Argentina, the wording of the congratulatory message was highly respectful and polite. The letter was written very formally, with no threatening undertones at all. The letter mentioned shared profits or dividends twice, seemingly hinting at benefits from Milei in dealing with the Chinese government. Xi Jinping's unusually conciliatory approach and overtures toward Milei sparked humor among Chinese netizens, with comments such as, "The lion has turned into a tame cat." Even Chinese state media rushed to create a narrative of familial ties between China and Argentina following Milei's election. Xinhua News Agency and Hong Kong newspaper Mingpao reported that Xi Jinping highlighted the importance of Sino-Argentine relations, noting both countries are developing and key emerging market nations. Director of the Argentine Research Center at the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences, Guo Chunhai, published an article the day after the election titled "Sino-Argentinian Relations Cannot Be Isolated by Subjective Will." The article mentioned that diplomatic relations between China and Argentina have withstood international changes over 50 years, maintaining healthy and stable development. It stated that current Sino-Argentine relations are at a critical juncture and could withstand tests, even if Milei claims to isolate relations with China and aligns with the United States. The article, carrying a threatening tone, brought up Taiwan, demanding Argentina adopt the One China policy and support China's stance on Taiwan. It even subtly criticized the new Argentine president for fear due to ignorance and a lack of understanding of Chinese culture and history. Following Argentine President Javier Milei's response to Chinese President Xi Jinping's letter, Niu Tanqing, a WeChat self-media under Xinhua Agency, published an article. It interpreted Milei's reaction on Twitter to the congratulatory message as a perfect resolution to the previously awkward relationship between him and the Chinese government. Niu Tanqing noted that Milei, as an economist, is well aware of China's significance in the current global landscape, particularly regarding Argentina's economic development. The article expressed belief that even if Argentina undergoes sweeping reforms, it cannot overlook China's economic influence in the country. It suggested that once Milei takes office, he will more deeply appreciate the value of having China as a partner, addressing Milei in a tone of warmth. However, former chairman of Chinese human rights, Liu Qing, has a different perspective. He believes that Xi Jinping's rush to congratulate Milei before U.S. President Biden with a congratulatory letter and written communication is an attempt to win over Milei, or at least hope Argentina does not join anti-China factions. Milei's public disclosure of the letter indicates his reluctance to develop private relations with Xi Jinping. The polite tone of Xi Jinping's letter contrasts sharply with the previously tough rhetoric of the Chinese Foreign Ministry. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning, in response to a reporter's question about Argentina, stated, "China is an important trade partner of Argentina. Severing ties with China or Brazil could be a serious diplomatic mistake." This comment is seen as a threat to Argentina, suggesting potential trade retaliation. The CCP's anxiety is understandable. Since Xi Jinping's visit to Argentina in July 2014 and the elevation of Sino-Argentine relations to a comprehensive strategic partnership, the CCP has significantly increased its influence in Argentina. China is now Argentina's second largest trading partner, a major creditor, and a source of investment. In 2019, Argentina officially joined China's Belt and Road Initiative. China has made significant investments in lithium, hydrogen energy projects, and nuclear energy in Argentina. The Argentine government has authorized the Chinese yuan as one of its important pricing, settlement, trading, and reserve currencies, signing a currency swap agreement worth $18 billion with the People's Bank of China. Furthermore, Argentina agreed to China building an aerospace monitoring station in Patagonia, staffed by the Chinese People's Liberation Army. The secrecy surrounding its construction and operation, and the restricted access to nearby areas have led to suspicions that it serves as a military and espionage base for the PLA, with the Argentine government having no oversight or enforcement rights. Beijing has also been inciting pro-China governments in Argentina to stir up the issue of the sovereignty of the Falkland Islands, called the Malvinas Islands in Argentina, currently a British overseas territory. China and Argentina often collaborate on this territorial dispute, portraying Western powers as invaders or colonial nations in a strategy to reduce the UK's main defense forces in the Atlantic and increase South America's favorable view of China. As China's economic influence in Argentina continues to grow, Argentina finds it increasingly difficult to distance itself from China. Just days before the primary elections last month, China announced a $6.5 billion loan to the Argentine government through a currency swap mechanism, seemingly to help address the economic crisis. This move was perceived by many as China's attempt to intervene in the Argentine elections. In August this year, Argentina was invited to become a new member of the BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, with plans to formally join next year. Reports suggested that Argentina's inclusion was strongly recommended by Xi Jinping. With Argentina poised to become China's top ally in South America, the emergence of Milei, perceived as a maverick, could disrupt China's long-term plans. Argentina, once wealthy, has been struggling with economic decline and hyperinflation for nearly 2 decades, with no clear solution in sight. By July this year, Argentina's inflation rate had soared to 138%, foreign exchange reserves were in deficit, and an economic recession loomed. In response, Milei advocates for shock therapy. He champions free market economics and proposes to close the central bank, replace the Argentine peso with the US dollar, cut certain public sectors to balance the budget, and privatize healthcare and education, even suggesting the abolition of compulsory education. With China as Argentina's primary creditor, it remains to be seen if Milei will continue to cooperate. Since his election, Milei's actions indicate a complete shift in foreign policy towards supporting the United States and Israel, maintaining a distance from major trading partners China and Brazil. A week after his election, Milei visited Washington, D.C. to meet with U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan and senior officials from the National Security Council and the State Department, including Juan Gonzalez, Senior Director for the Western Hemisphere at the National Security Council, and Brian Nichols, Assistant Secretary of State for Western Hemisphere Affairs. Leaving the White House, Milei told reporters that their meeting was very good. His team stated on Twitter, the president-elect expressed his view of an international geopolitical agenda aligned with the West and his defense of freedom values. The statement added, National Security Advisor Sullivan expressed the United States' willingness to cooperate with the incoming Argentine government's transition in the face of a challenging political, economic, and social situation. Previously, Milei had publicly declared his support for Trump, but these past statements did not seem to affect his relationship with the current U.S. administration. During his U.S. visit, Milei also made time to visit the grave of a renowned Jewish rabbi in New York. According to a spokesperson, the president-elect has converted to Judaism and participated in Jewish ceremonies in Buenos Aires, receiving blessings from another rabbi. Argentina is predominantly Catholic, and the sudden change in Milei's religious affiliation to Judaism is not entirely clear. However, it appears the new leader is committed to deepening Argentina's cultural and political ties with Israel. Meanwhile, Milei's economic team met with officials from the International Monetary Fund, IMF, to prepare for renegotiating a revised agreement of the previous $43 billion loan. Milei has hired Wall Street veteran and former financial and central bank president Luis Caputo to lead the economic transformation team. Gregory Copley, president of the International Strategic Studies Association, believes that Milei's election might not immediately change Argentina's economic fate. However, it undoubtedly signifies a strategic setback for Communist China's influence in the Euro-Atlantic region. This development could significantly impact China's military positioning in South America, its space programs, and its aggressive strategy in Antarctica. His analysis suggests Milei's biggest challenge in governance will be his lack of control over the House and Senate, still dominated by the former ruling Peronist Party. Radical reforms proposed by Milei are likely to face strong opposition in Congress, possibly forcing him to bypass the legislature through executive orders to realize his reform ideas. Should Milei disobey, China might actively use its resources to support opposing parties to restrain Milei's government. In South America, Milei may struggle to gain support from other countries, as most governments in the region have close ties with China and oppose Milei's advocacy of a free market economy. Just days ago, Milei's team announced that Argentina would not join the China-led BRICS trade group. Diana Mondino, slated to be the foreign minister in Milei's new government, confirmed this on Twitter, stating, "We will not join the BRICS." This decision is another blow to China, and international experts believe that in the face of Argentina's political upheaval, China might intensify its efforts, both soft and hard, to bring Argentina back into its sphere of influence.